Hello, in today's video I'm going to be telling you about my old animated OC project, Jaden Unshaken. I released one episode of it about 5 years ago, and I did have about half of the next episode finished. But it's been so long I really don't have it in me to go and edit it together to post. Viewing my old content tends to make me cry. I haven't seen the Jaden Unshaken episode since about when I first released it. Anyway, there may be some of you out there who were there for that and wonder where it had gone, or what was supposed to happen. I'd like to talk a bit about it today. I'll first start with the backstory to the series. So I created the characters that Jaden Unshaken was based on when I was about 12. I kept the characters and kept on reimagining them through the years. When I was 12, they were superheroes. When I was 14, they were magical girls. When I was 15, they worked at a maid cafe. When I was 16, they were a slice of life. When I was 18, they were horrible experiments that were basically the X-Men. That one is what the Jaden Unshaken you know is based on. I wrote the series that the first episode came from when I was 18. All the ideas that are in it were made around that time, though I didn't manage to put things together until later. The characters in the story were about my age at the time as well. There were things written in the story that I don't enjoy anymore. I was 18 and in a lot of pain, and as any artist I interpreted that pain into my characters and world. I'm 27 now, and I'm not in the same kind of pain that I was in when I wrote Jaden Unshaken. When I look at JU now, it reminds me of the same pain I had back then. The JU story is left to grow dust. I'm okay with that. I'm sure you understand my feelings too. Now that you know the origins of how I was creating that story, I'll tell you about how it was supposed to go. The series was about Jaden, the main girl in blue with dark hair. She was extremely lonely, as she had pushed most people away from her due to her powers of persuasion. She didn't like that it felt like people around her would always do what she said and not of their own volition. When she discovers there are people who are immune to her powers, she does everything she can to start collecting them. M, the strong one in green, was the first. Then Amy, the flaming girl, was the next. Many more characters were to come. Each would have gotten their own episode to shine. Her cousins were going to show up in the next episode. The genius Manny was going to study how Amy in particular functioned. Her cousins did not have special powers, though it was supposed to kind of seem like they did, since Manny was so smart. However, it was eventually going to be revealed by Jaden accidentally ordering Manny to do something in front of the others, and her realizing what she'd done again was going to cause an emotional few episodes. The series would have continued gathering characters, particularly more characters who had their own abilities. Manny would have invented a tracker for the people who had altered DNA, which is how the characters would have been found. The blonde girl in episode 1 who escaped that dungeon place, Angie, she would have met the main characters and explained she was searching for her brother. Her brother was the blonde man in the leather jacket with the running and flight powers, named Gerald. Manny was to successfully track Gerald down, but as Gerald's theme of running away, he did not want to meet up with Angie, and asks Manny to promise him not to reveal to the main party that Manny had found Gerald. Gerald's reasoning to why he didn't want his sister to find him was more in the spoiler territory, as Angie and Gerald were rather important on the journey to discover why all the main characters had powers. That is all I'm willing to share today. I'm sure you realize now that these versions of the characters and this story are no longer relevant to me, as in, I will not be making more content of this particular storyline. The storyline I originally wrote is something I don't enjoy anymore. I've grown from when I first wrote it. I will, however, keep the characters. I love these characters, but I'm not keeping them as they were. I recreated them again about a year or so ago, and now they're all in their 20s to mid-20s, since I've grown too and I don't really want younger characters. Anytime I draw them now, they're all over 20. The way I have them now, they're more part of a magical world. They're no longer anomalies of humanity. They're more normal to their setting. Their storyline now takes place in a modern D&D type setting, which is what I have for my preferred OCs that I draw now. They are not part of the main story, they just exist in the world. If I'm ever to make a D&D campaign, they'll be NPCs at some point. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about my old story. If you were still around from when I was making content at that time, I appreciate any of the interest that you had shown me back then. I'm not sure I'll make a new series again. I more enjoy just animation itself and character creation. Writing and sound design are not my strong suits. But maybe one day. Thank you for watching.